nicest clock I've seen all day. Are you a bit of a clocky, a bit of an enthusiast?
I am a
collector?
little bit, but an amateur.
How many have you got?
About 14.
And is this your nicest?
Yes, my nicest.
How long have you had this?
Oh, just over 30 years. It was left to my mother by an old school friend, and then when my mother passed away, I collected it.
It is lovely and most unusual.
Thank you.
Obviously, the case is mahogany, and the dial is so unusual for a London clock for the simple reason that it is painted with a circular enamel dial. Now, I'm not familiar with John Pilkington. Have you done any research on him?
No,
or
not at all.
No, but the main thing is that up in the arch, we have wonderful automata. Slight bit of damage there to the dial, but
Yes.
nothing that can't be sorted. And then, of course, we've got a concentric date.
Yes.
Now, the one winding square is the giveaway that we've only got a timepiece movement,
Yes.
not a striker.
That's right.
So I'll just whip it round there, and then we can have a look at the tapered plates verge escapement. Lovely little movement, little bob pendulum. And there we go. And as I turn it round, the automata should be starting to work with any luck.
Hopefully.
And you reckon it'll just take us a couple of minutes?
It takes he's coming down
He's
from the
been
window.
up, he's now coming down with a bag of flour. So down here,
Yes.
we're going to see the white bird appear, are we?
He should do.
He's very small, is he?
He could be shy.
How small is he?
Oh, minuscule.
Minuscule. Well, while we're waiting for him to disappear and the white bird to appear,
Well, from my angle,
can you see
he's
the white
about-
bird?
Yes, he's there.
he is.
Yes, I'm trying to lure him
He is.
out. Here he comes.
I love it. There he is, the bird's coming up. There he goes, it's been caught. I love it.
And then the man will go back up.
He'll
to
go
the
back up
windmill.
again, and so this just obviously works off the pendulum, and these are continuous automata.
Automatically, yes.
Lovely. And the overall joy is the size. It's very, very small for a clock of this period.
Really?
What sort of date do you reckon?
I've no idea. Late 1700s, early 1800s.
Absolutely spot on. Lovely handles on each side. Lovely brass mouldings all the way around, brass OG feet.
All original.
Absolutely original. That's the joy. This is all in lovely original condition. Cracking good, in fact. So good that in this state, I'm going to quote you £7,000 to £10,000.
Say that again.
7 to 10,000.
I can't believe it. Thank you.
And so this is now your favourite of the 14?
It is. Bless it.
Lovely. I'm very fond of good quality French clocks. Do you like this one too?
This one's very special to me. My aunt had it for the whole of her life, and I remember it when I was a very small child. And when she died in 2011, I was the one she left it to.
So it reminds you of her all the
It
time?
works perfectly, and every time it chimes on the half hour or the hour, it reminds me of her.
Ah, that's lovely. Now, do you know what it's made of?
I think it's porcelain, and I believe the metal is some kind of copper alloy.
Well, I'm delighted to actually tell you that it's gilt bronze
Right,
and that you thought this was all porcelain.
I did.
The joy is that it's not. It's enamel.
Really?
And just turning it round, you can see these fantastic enamel panels here. Absolutely beautiful. And of course, they've been picked out with a little bit of gold. And had you ever thought why the back of the clock, the back of this lovely urn finial, is also done so beautifully?
Yes, it did make me wonder, yes, because obviously it faces the wall.
Well, it faces the wall, possibly in your house, but in the old days, it would have been back to a mirror.
Right.
And so you would have seen the lovely back of the clock as well as the front.
Ah.
It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And just up there, it says Leroy Fils à Paris. So company of Leroy and Sons went on for a long time. Paris. And I also noticed the movements numbered, 781, and look at there, also 781. So you know it's the original movement to that case. It's all 100%.
As it was.
Yeah, dating from about 1870.
Right.
Possibly 1875. It's a great thing. It had a certain price structure if it was porcelain, but the enamel is much scarcer.
Is it really?
Yes, much, much scarcer. So I'm going to say to you that retail No, I know you love this clock.
Not for sale.
I know it's not. I know you love it, and I don't mean to lot you. To replace it retail, you'd have to pay at least £5,000. So, quite a nice present, eh?
Well, you know, it just works and it reminds me, and that's the whole point, really.
Great.
All I know is that my husband's great-grandmother, who was Jane Stewart of Fashta Cloyk in Argyllshire, had a sister, Henrietta, who went out with Florence Nightingale to nurse in the Crimea, and she's reputed to have nursed a Belgian nobleman and saved his life, and in gratitude he gave her this, and it's been passed down the family. Since then, she never married, left it to a niece, who in turn gave it to my father-in-law as a wedding present, and so it's come down.
What a fabulous story. This is a most intriguing clock, and I have to say that the condition is superb. It is in fact of German origin, very, very typically German,
Yes.
and it's a style that they started making in the mid-17th century.
No.
This, I think, we'll find is just a little bit later. Obviously, it depicts the crucifixion of Christ, and we have here, very typically, a skull and crossbones and two figures who are probably Mary Magdalene and St. John the Baptist. So the construction of the clock is ebony veneer and solid ebony mouldings on softwood, probably pine. And one of the absolutely sensational things here is the silver piercing and engraved floral work. Now, as you know, the time is shown up here on a horizontal chaptering, and the movement is in this lovely base. And just looking at that, it is as crisp and as original as you can get. And look at this. I mean, it's never been touched. I want you to look at various lovely things. The balance cock, which is pierced and engraved, is quite delicious. And then the hammer here moves and strikes on the bell, is actually formed as the mask of a dog, in other words, a dog's head. Signed Lichtenauer of Gotha. Gotha was the capital of Saxe-Gotha,
Yes.
and from there came Prince Leopold of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, who in 1831 was elected the first king, Leopold I, of the new independent Belgium. They, when they were down in Germany, were forming a magnificent collection at the castle there from the early 17th century. And today they still have a wonderful collection, including many clocks.
Really?
So I would put it to you that Prince Leopold, when he went up to Belgium to be crowned, took a large proportion of his collection with him. And there's every possibility that it is part of that collection, and if we knew more about the Belgian nobleman, I'm sure we could say that he was very much something to do with that first Belgian royal family.
Oh, how fascinating. I often wonder she never married, whether she fell in love with him and never married, whether he was married, couldn't marry her, I don't know, we never know.
The crucifixion is, if I can be really blunt about it, it's not everybody's cup of tea in the current market. But you must still be thinking of around £20,000.
How much?
20,000. So
I'll check that he's got insurance.
make sure he's got it insured, and make sure that it's looked after for the next 300 years very safely.
It's been in the family a long time. I inherited it from my mother, and I believe she inherited it from her mother. And I've always had this feeling that it was probably worth something. Some years ago, my dad, before he died, had it valued and gave me a figure sort of between 2,000 and 3,000.
Okay.
And seeing this was on today, I thought, well, let's go and have a second opinion, because that was only done photographically.
Well, that's what we're here for, of course.
Indeed.
To advise you, hopefully. It is in slightly scruffy condition. You clearly haven't spent any money on it.
Absolutely, it stood in a corner on my landing for that time.
Right. When did you last have it going?
Probably about 8 or 9 years ago.
Okay. Do you know what we refer to this sort of clock as?
I called it a grandmother clock. You probably have a more technical
Well,
term
I would
for
call it a miniature long case, and in this instance, it's a miniature long case regulator.
Okay.
Because it's not a striking clock. Give me a sort of date. Any thoughts?
Well, it was in our living room when I was a child.
Right.
So that was in the sort of late 40s.
Right.
So mother must have had that. I think she inherited it from her mother. She was born in 1913. So I would have thought it was late 19th century, to guess.
Okay. Well, I'm delighted to tell you it's very significantly earlier than that.
Really?
Yeah. It's actually about 1760 to 70.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know I had such an antique there.
Now, again, when it arrived this morning and it wasn't in the sunlight, it looked very austere. But I just want you to look at this dial. There we go. Had you noticed the maker's signature here?
Yeah, I couldn't have told. That's along there.
Yes.
I couldn't have told you what it was, but yes, I remember seeing it.
Okay.
I've seen it there.
Well, it's a magic name. John Shelton, London.
Okay.
Who is a maker of fantastic early regulators, really very special indeed.
Right.
He was a freeman of the Clockmakers Company in 1720 and then a liveryman by the mid-1760s. Now, us clockies, we like things that are small, and this is a 7-inch dial,
Yes.
and the whole thing can't be more than 5.5 foot tall.
Right.
So it really is a true miniature regulator. You've probably noticed that it's a slightly unusual method of telling the time.
Indeed, and that always fascinated me as a child.
Instead of the hours, you've got this sector here. So
Yep.
if I was to move the minute hand up, you will see
Yes.
there the hours going round to 2 and beyond.
Indeed.
This is just so there's no clutter and you can read the minutes to precision.
Right.
Tell me again what you were quoted
I think the figure was somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000.
and how long ago roughly?
That was probably about 20 years.
Right. Well, I've waxed lyrical about it because I love it. And I hope I'm going to surprise you. When it's up and running and in beautiful condition and the pendulum rod replaced and everything, it's going to be between 50 and 60,000 pounds.
Seriously?
Seriously.
My, oh my.
It is absolutely wonderful. It's the best long case clock I've seen on this programme ever. It's a cracker.
Yeah. I've seen people gasp on this show before on television, but I never thought I'd be in the position of gasping at that level.
It's exceptional.